A messenger from Corinth has reported that Polybus, the man Oedipus assumes as his father, died, and so now Oedipus is now king in Corinth. This messenger also communicated to Oedipus, Polybus is not your father, you're adopted. Iocosta figures out that Oedipus is her child in this exchange. She tries to ignore it. She called doomed man, never find out who you are. Oedipus has no idea at this point. Page 1496, the Stasimone. Stasimone means no new action, our chorus is talking. If I've mantic power and excellence in thought by Olympus, you shall not, Citharon, at tomorrow's full moon, fail to hear us celebrate you as the countryman of Oedipus, his nurse and mother, or fail to be the subject of our dance, since you have given pleasure to our king. Chorus is still supporting King Oedipus and celebrating this messenger because they brought good news to the king. Phoebus, whom we summon by Ai, may this be pleasing to you. So the chorus doesn't realize the truth yet either. But they are questioning, listen here. Who was your mother, son? Which of the long-lived nymphs, after lying with Pan, the mountain roaming? Or was it a bride of Loxias? For dear to him are all the upland pastures. Or was it Mount Silene's lord, or the Bacchic god, Dionysus, dweller of the mountain peaks, who received you as a joyous find from one of the nymphs of Helicon, the favorite sharers of his sport? So while the chorus is still supporting Oedipus, they are beginning to question, who are your parents? Where did you come from? But they seem to link Oedipus with divinity. You know, are you a bride of Loxias? Are you from Dionysus? You're kind of godlike, Oedipus. Episode 4, episode means action, plot is developing. If someone like myself, who never met him, may calculate, elders, I think I see the very herdsman we've been waiting for. I remember this is the herdsman who Oedipus called back because this herdsman was along when King Laios was murdered, was one of the only people not killed in that attack. And so this herdsman is going to be able to give information about that attack, that murder of King Laios. His many years would fit that man's age, and those who bring him on, if I'm right, are my own men. And yet, in real knowledge, you can outstrip me, because surely you've seen him. Enter the old herdsman, escorted by 2 of Oedipus's attendants. At first, the herdsman will not look at Oedipus. I know him, yes, a man of the house of Laius, a trusty herdsman, if he ever had one. I ask you first, the stranger come from Corinth, is this the man you spoke of? That's he you see. Then you, old man, first look at me. Now answer. Did you belong to Laios' household once? This herdsman doesn't want to answer. Let me clarify one more thing. Not only is this herdsman the guy who was along when King Laios was killed, this herdsman was also the same guy from whom the messenger got Oedipus when he was a baby. And so this herdsman will be able to tell more about who Oedipus's parents are. Big decision on Oedipus's part here. He could turn this herdsman away, especially with his actions right now, not looking at Oedipus. He doesn't seem to want to talk to Oedipus. It'd be easy for Oedipus to say, okay, fine, you just go back home. But instead, Oedipus seems determined to find the truth here. Did you belong to Laios' household once? I did. Not a purchased slave, but raised in the palace. How have you spent your life? What is your work? Most of my life now I have tended sheep. Where's the usual place you stay with them? On Mount Citharon, or in that district. Do you recall observing this man here? Oedipus is referring to the messenger from Corinth. Doing what? What is the man you mean? And the herdsman is evading, not wanting to answer the question. Well, this man right here. Have you had dealings with him? I can't say right away. I don't remember. Well, no wonder, master. I'll bring clear memory to his ignorance. I'm absolutely sure he can recall it. The district was Citharon, the mountains out there. He with a double flock, and I with one, lived close to him for 3 entire seasons, 6 months along, from spring right to Arcturus. Then for the winter, I'd drive mine to the fold, and he'd drive his to Laios' pen again. Did any of the things I say take place? You speak the truth, though it's from a long ago. Do you remember giving me, back then, a boy I was to care for as my own? What are you saying? Why do you ask me that? There, sir, is the man who was that boy. Damn you, shut your mouth. Keep your silence. The herdsman really doesn't want to tell, and Oedipus is going to continue to press for the truth here. Stop. Don't you rebuke his words. Your words ask for rebuke far more than his. But what have I done wrong, most royal master? Not telling of the boy of whom he asked. He's ignorant and blundering toward ruin. Tell it willingly, or under torture. Oh God, don't. We see Oedipus's anger flare up again. It seems like he's grabbing at the herdsman and torturing him already. I'm old, don't torture me. Here, someone put his hands behind his back. But why? What else would you find out, poor man? Did you give him the child he asks about? I did. I wish that I had died that day. You'll come to that if you don't speak the truth. It's if I speak that I shall be destroyed, right? The news I have is so bad, you don't want to know what I know. I think this fellow struggles for delay. No. I said already that I gave him from your own home or got from someone else, right? The child that you gave, was it your child or did you get it from someone else? Not my own. I got him from another. Well, which of these citizens? What sort of house? Don't, by the gods, don't, master, ask me more. It means your death if I must ask again. One of the children of the house of Laos. A slave or born into the family? I have come to the dreaded thing, and I shall say it, and I to hearing it, but here I must. Oedipus continues to be determined. He could find out right now that he is a member of the family, or he could find out right now that I'm lowborn, I'm a slave, I'm not even royal or anything like that. Either way, the news can't be good for him. But he presses, I must hear it. He was reported to have been his son. Your lady in the house could tell you best. Because she gave him to you? Yes, my lord. What was her purpose? I was to kill the boy. The child she bore? Yes, she dreaded prophecies. What were they? The word was that he'd kill his parents. Then why did you give him up to this old man? Really asking, why did you not just kill that child? In pity, master. So he would take him home to another land. But what he did was save him for this supreme disaster. If you are the one he speaks of, know your evil birth and fate. All of it was destined to be true. Agnagnerus, right? Light bulb moment. Oedipus is realizing it's true. O light, now may I look my last upon you, shown monstrous in birth, in marriage monstrous, a murderer monstrous in those I killed. Exit Oedipus, running into the palace. Oh, what is the chorus thinking right now? Oh my gosh, they just heard all of this happen. The chorus now knows Oedipus killed his father and married his mother. Oh, generations of mortal men, while you are living, I will appraise your lives at 0. Mortal men, which is all of us, right? We're all mortals. While you're living, your lives are 0. What man comes closer to seizing lasting blessedness than merely to seize its semblance, and after living in this semblance, to plunge? With your example before us, with your destiny, yours, suffering Oedipus, no mortal can I judge fortunate, right? No man has a chance in this world because life will just cut you down. This is naturalism. A very pessimistic worldview. Naturalism believes the world is out to get you, and no one is going to make it through this journey of life successful because the world will cut you down. And I suppose the world does cut you down, doesn't it? Naturalism. For he, outranging everybody, shot his arrow and became the lord of wide prosperity and blessedness. O Zeus, after destroying the virgin with crooked talons, right? Oedipus had great success. After destroying the Sphinx, he rose to such power, the singer of oracles. And against death in my land, he arose a tower of defense. From which time you were called my king, Oedipus, and you were granted privileges supreme. In mighty Thebes, you were the ruling lord. But now, whose story is more sorrowful than yours, Oedipus? Who is more intimate with fierce calamities, with labors now that your life is altered? Alas, my Oedipus, whom all men know, one great harbor, one alone sufficed for you as son and father. When you tumbled plowman of the woman's chamber, How could your paternal furrows, wretched man, endure you silently so long? That metaphor, plowman, it's a very intimate metaphor. Plowing is used as a sexual metaphor here, and it will continue throughout the play. How could you not realize what was going on? How could you be so blind to your fate? Time, all-seeing, surprised you living an unwilled life, and sits from of old in judgment on the marriage, not a marriage, where the begetter is the begot as well. Ah, son of Laos, would that, oh, would that I had never seen you. I wail, my scream climbing beyond itself from my whole body of voice. To say it straight, from you I got new breath, but I also lulled my eye to sleep. I failed to see the corruption you brought. So now even the chorus is saying, I couldn't see it either. Exodus, your post-it note says that the Exodus is the conclusion, the resolution. Enter the second messenger from the palace. You, who are first among the citizens, what deeds you are about to hear and see, what grief you'll carry, if, true to your birth, you still respect the house of Lapticus. Neither the Ister nor the Phasis River could purify this house, such suffering does it conceal, or soon must bring to light. Willed this time, not unwilled. Griefs hurt worst, which we perceive to be self-chosen ones. Our griefs are sufficient, the things we knew before, to make us grieve. What can you add to those? Well, the thing that's quickest said and quickest heard, our own, our royal one, Alcasta's dead. Unhappy queen, what was responsible? Herself. The bitterest of these events is not for you. You were not there to see, but yet, exactly as I can recall it, you'll hear what happened to that wretched lady. She came in anger through the outer hall, and then she ran straight to her marriage bed, tearing her hair with her fingers of both hands. Then, slamming shut the doors when she was in, she called to Laos, dead so many years, remembering the ancient seed which caused his death, leaving the mother to the son to breed again an ill-born progeny. She mourned the bed where she, alas, bred double, husband by husband, children by her child. From this point on, I don't know how she died, for Oedipus then burst in with a cry and did not let us watch her final evil. Our eyes were fixed on him. Wildly, he ran to each of us, asking for his spear and for his wife, no wife, where he might find the double mother field, his and his children's, that plowman metaphor, mother field. He raved, and some divinity then showed him, for none of us did so who stood close by. With a dreadful shout, as if some guide were leading, he lunged through the double doors. He bent the hollow bolts from the sockets, burst into the room, and there he saw her, hanging from above, entangled in some twisted hanging strands. He saw, was stricken, and with a wild roar ripped down the dangling noose. When she, poor woman, lay on the ground, there came a fearful sight. He snatched the pins of worked gold from her dress, with which her clothes were fastened. These he raised and struck into the ball joints of his eyes. His eyeballs, Oedipus gouges his eyes out. There, that idea of being able to see is one more time repeated. Now Oedipus literally can't see. He's literally blind. And he uses the pins from Iocasta's clothing. In Sophocles' time, they didn't have sewing machines, so they kind of dressed more toga style, wrapping their garments around them and then using these pins to fasten their clothes. So as Oedipus removed those pins from her clothes, they would fall off of her. She would be unclothed. And then he used those pins to gouge his eyes out. He shouted that they would no longer see, that Oedipus's eyes would no longer see the evils he had suffered or had done, see in the dark those who should not have seen, and know no more those he once sought to know. Very intimate here. See those he should not have seen, Iocasta, and know, sexually know, no more those he once sought to know, Iocasta. While chanting this, not once but many times, he raised his hand and struck into his eyes with those pins. Blood from his wounded eyes poured down his chin, not freed in moistening drops, but all at once. A stormy rain of black blood burst like hail. These evils, coupling them, making them one, have broken loose upon both man and wife. The old prosperity, the old success that they had once was true prosperity. And yet today, mourning, ruin, death, disgrace, and every evil you could name, not one is absent. Has he allowed himself, Oedipus, some peace from all this grief? He shouts that someone slide the bolts and show to all the Cadmeans the patricide meaning a child is murdering a parent. His mother's, I can't say it, it's unholy, his mother's husband. So he can cast himself out of the land, not stay and curse his house by his own curse. He lacks the strength, though, and he needs a guide, for his is a sickness that's too great to bear. Now you yourself will see, the bolts of the doors are opening. You are about to see a vision, even one who hates must pity. Enter the blinded Oedipus from the palace, led in by a household servant. Terrifying suffering for men to see, more terrifying than any I've ever come upon. O man of pain, what madness reached you? Which god from far off, surpassing in range his longest spring, struck hard against your god-abandoned fate? Corgus is not blaming Oedipus right now. Corgus is blaming fate. Which god did this to you, Oedipus? Rather than saying, look what you did, Oedipus. So Sophocles is emphasizing the role of fate in lives. O man of pain, I cannot look upon you, though there's so much I would ask you, so much to hear, so much that holds my eyes, such is the shudder you produce in me. I'm a man of misery. Where am I carried? Pity me. Where is my voice scattered abroad on wings? Divinity, where has your lunge transported me? To something horrible, not to be heard or seen. Literal and symbolic stuff going on. Literally, Oedipus can't see, and so he's saying, where am I? Who is here? What's going on? But also symbolically, Oedipus finally gets at catharsis, that moment where he finally understands, I can't control my fate and I can't know it. Where am I and where am I going?